first regulatory cue is to stand with your feet flat, shoulder width apart, and toes underneath the bar. The second regulatory cue is to load the spring. This puts your body into triple flexion at the hip, knees, and ankles to allow for the most potential energy. Also, the hips should be positioned lower than the shoulders. The third regulatory cue is to turn the elbows in. This tightens the core and back muscles to put the back into a neutral position. Also notice how the shoulders are right over the bar. If there is deviation at this step, you would prefer to be more over the bar than behind the bar. The last regulatory cue is to push the floor away and paint your body with the bar. This ensures that most of the force is being exerted from the legs instead of the back. Also, painting your body with the bar ensures that you keep the bar traveling in a straight upward line. The athlete begins the lift by properly placing her feet shoulder width apart and flat against the floor. The athlete then loads the spring. Loading the spring brings her into triple flexion at the hip, knees, and ankles. In the spring-loaded position, her back is in slight lumbar lordosis. This is due to a lack of activation of the core muscles. Also, the athlete's hips are lower than the shoulders, which is correct, but the athlete's hips are a little too low and can have a decrease in power from the lower extremities. It can be seen here that her shoulders are behind the bar. This is due to her hips being too low. By lifting the hips up a few inches, it would bring her right over top of the bar, putting the body in position to push the floor away instead of pulling the bar to the body. This line represents the path that the bar should follow throughout the lift. It can be seen in the first part of the lift that the bar is already deviating from the linear path. This is due to the athlete not being over top of the bar to start and having to pull the bar to the body instead of pushing straight away from the floor. In the second part of the lift, there is a major deviation where the athlete pulls the bar to her body, causing the path of the bar to curve. This can be corrected by cueing the athlete to extend their hips into the bar instead of pulling the bar to them. At the end of the lift, it is clear to see how the bar has not traveled correctly due to the athlete being a cognitive learner. When we look at the side-by-side of the cognitive learner and the autonomous learner, it can be seen that the autonomous learner moves the bar in a linear fashion due to following the regulatory cues of the deadlift, whereas the cognitive learner has not mastered the regulatory cues and is unable to perform the proper technique. The athlete showed proper technique from the frontal view during the prior lift, so it was decided to analyze the movement only from the side angle. The athlete properly starts the lift by loading the spring, putting her into triple flexion. Also, the hips are lower than the shoulders. If watched closely, it is seen that the athlete tries to tighten the core and back, but instead of turning the elbows in to retract the scapula, the athlete rolls the shoulders, thus putting tension on the upper traps. But the back is in proper neutral position. Also, the athlete's hips are in perfect position, that her shoulders are right over top of the bar, putting her in the optimal position for the lift. This line represents the path that the bar should take throughout the lift. The athlete properly pushes the floor away with her legs, instead of pulling from the floor with her back, while painting her body with the bar and extending the hips into the bar to create a straight line. In this side-by-side comparison of the before and after training, there is a substantial difference in the athlete's position, form, and execution of the deadlift.